Hadayeghi is a partner and vice president of Transportation Group at CIMA Plus. Ali completed his PhD and master's degree in civil engineering at the University of Toronto. He did his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Ryerson University. Dr. Hadayeghi has several years of academic and practical experience in transportation planning, traffic engineering, statistical modeling, and road safety. Ali has been involved in many projects involving the development of new methodologies for analyzing collision data. So this session will be 40 minutes of presentation and 10 to 20 minutes of questions afterwards. With that, I'd like to ask the audience to give a round of applause to the speaker, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back at the lab. It's been a while. So, I'm going to talk about the Vision Zero. Have you guys heard about Vision Zero? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So this is one of the projects we did for the region of York, York Vision Zero Traveler Safety Plan. Before that, I want to use this platform to do a better advertisement for our company and who we are. I hope you heard about who we are. We are CIMA Plus. So our history, the company started back in 1974 and 86 in Quebec. There were 3 firms. Then in early 90, they decided they're going to join together, and they chose they chose CIMA Plus. CIMA Plus in French or in Latin, it means the peak. And the plus is because it's a combination of 3 firms came together, that plus basically inclusivity. So in between 1990 to 2020, we went through significant growth. And not only in Quebec, also in Ontario. So myself, in June of 2009, joined CIMA, and CIMA didn't have any offices in Ontario. So there were 2 of us, myself and my colleague, Brian Malone. And we didn't have even an office. We were in my living room. We were working the first day. Since then, we've grown quite a bit. In Ontario, we are more than 650 people. And here he said 610, but we are growing so fast, I cannot keep up with the numbers. So even last week, we purchased a company named TNS. And those, we are happy to have them. They bring a different type of services to us. They have like a software named Traffic Engineering Software, TES, which is used by several municipalities. More than 65 municipalities are using that software. So that's not included here. So we are, what's different between us and other companies, big companies, we are privately owned. There are, I don't know, it says here how many partners. Yeah, there are 530 partners and associate partners. So we are not in the stock market. All of us work in the company, we own the company. So we basically cover 4 major disciplines: building, infrastructure, energy and resources, as well as transportation. But we do have other services, but they're not main, like project management or the communication, things like that. So, and our value, basically, we respect the ethical integrity, the entrepreneurship, social responsibility, excellence. As you see in our logo, it says excellence and team spirit. So this is a bit about CIMA in transportation. Transportation is biggest group in CIMA. We have more than 700 people, and this number of people we have coast to coast in different provinces. Myself, I'm responsible for the mobility group for CIMA, in national level, and our mobility group basically covers traffic analysis, traffic signage, road safety, active mode of transportation, expert opinion, transportation planning. And I think majority of you guys are working on this stream. So, and this is another one, Operation Road Safety and so on. This is about a little bit history about myself and who CIMA is and what we do here in Ontario. So from now on, I'm going to talk about the project for York Region, the Vision Zero York Region project we did for the region. So traffic fatalities are public health crisis affecting all road users. That was the stat about what is happening in Canada and other. So more than 2,400 people in 2018, they lost their life. They were mother, father, son, and daughter. So that's a lot of number for losing people. And that number is 600, more than 600 people in Ontario. So, and it goes to York Region in 2018, 35. So to better explain the problem, I thought maybe we should break down the number of collisions year by year. So in 2015, we had almost 7,000 property damage collision, more than 2,000 injury collision, and 13 fatality. As you see, we still have a lot of number of collisions. Why there is a regular trend there? Pandemic, right? A lot of places were closed, cars were not in the road, so the probability of the likelihood of collision happening was less. But what is troublesome there, the number of fatality not only didn't reduce, also increase. Although we shouldn't look at the number of collision year by year, but as you see, this is a trend. So the region or the municipality, they have to do something. So in order to address the road safety issue, as I describe it, they initiated the development of traveler safety plan in response to road safety issue in your region. So you see, sometimes I said traveler safety plan, sometimes I said Vision Zero. The reason is when we started this project, the client said, no Vision Zero, because Vision Zero, it means zero fatality. And the newspaper is going to, or media, they're going to come, they said, how come in 5 years, in 2 years, you're not at zero? So, City of Toronto was in trouble. Toronto Star wrote the Vision Zero is failure because it's not, we are not at zero level. So, a lot of clients, they are reluctant to use the Vision Zero expression, but then eventually they had to change. So the Traveler Safety Plan or Vision Zero will set the region's York road safety goal, target, policy, and road safety action plan. So I will basically focus on that, what the Vision Zero is and what we did. And Traveler Safety Plan is a structured plan to prevent traffic fatality and serious injury for all road users. So by identifying emphasis area, I will explain what it is, and make a decision based on people's experience. We engage people also in our discussion, coordinate the decision. We work with several stakeholders, public health, police, fire department, school board, obviously York Region, public work, and so on. And we develop the action plan with a new or expanded calendar. If you're doing what you're doing, you shouldn't expect any different results. So we have to do something more. So that's what the basically road safety plan or travel safety plan say. And obviously to implement the road safety policy. So all of these, we use the Vision Zero philosophy to do this. What is Vision Zero? The basic idea is to eliminate collision resulting in fatality and serious injury. It was established in the early 90s in Sweden. So basically saying life and health cannot be exchanged for other benefit within society. Me as a traffic engineer, for years when I do the safety analysis, I do the benefit cost analysis. So how much benefit I get based on the cost I spend on that countermeasures, on that safety program. So Vision Zero saying safety is paramount, you have to focus on safety. And the plan or the plan also acknowledge human ability to tolerate external forces. We can observe so much forces in order not to get hurt. So, as a transportation engineer, as a traffic engineer, we have to do something. If the mistakes is happening, instead of becoming a fatality or an injury, so it becomes just property damage only, right? So if the road is forgiveness, give you forgiveness, if we made a mistake, instead of having fatality, have a property damage. And also this is very important. This is a system is equal for all road users, not only for the driver. Also is important for pedestrian, cyclists, and so on. So we all share responsibility here. So we cannot basically point the finger, oh, I'm sorry to say that, stupid drivers, you know, or stupid pedestrians, they do this. And the safety is a shared responsibility. And changes to the traffic safety culture are required. So in North America, we are very vehicle-oriented society. You see what's happening with our premier. He wants to get rid of the bike lane and so on. So this is, I'm talking about the safety culture change, all right? And that takes really, really long time to change the people's behavior. So this is the concept of basically Vision Zero and what it means. So this is some example. As I said, in early 90s, Sweden started. And their politicians, representatives, they were all on board, not only on the municipal or state level, also in the federal level. They had a lot of success, but it's still not at zero. You see, they reduced the number of the fatality by more than 50%. And some of these are examples, it shows how they did it. So they reduced the speed limit, created pedestrian zones, barriers to separate the cars from bikes. Honestly, I didn't put it. This has been for a long time in our presentation, and yet we're still fighting here about the bike lanes. And divided 2-lane rural roads. Imagine all the rural roads that are divided. So if car goes the other way and nobody T-boned them, so it becomes less likelihood there is a fatality. This is like compare the traditional approach with the Vision Zero approach. So the traditional approach basically is saying, okay, collision happened, and focus on all types of collision, property damage only, injury as well as fatality. In Vision Zero, our focus will be only on fatality and injury. And we try to improve humans' behavior through giving them tickets and penalties, right? On the other hand, Vision Zero, as I said before, acknowledge humans make a mistake and humans are fragile. And in traditional approach, we point the fingers to users. Or the users are ultimately responsible for the collision happen. In Vision Zero, we're saying the responsibility is shared, and all of us are responsible for that. So goal in traditional approach, reduce the number of collision as many as we can. In Vision Zero, we want to eliminate all the fatalities and injuries. That's our ultimate goal. And mobility is as important as road safety in the traditional approach. I understand we have to be realistic, but in Vision Zero, we're saying road user, they want a safe mobility rather than just mobility. I hope it is clear to everyone. So how we apply the Vision Zero? We use the safe system approach. It has 5 pillars: safe vehicles, safe speed, safe road, post-crash cares, and safe road users. And follow the 6 principles. Fatal and serious injuries are unacceptable. Again, humans make a mistake. To collision, humans are vulnerable. Responsibility is shared, and redundancy is important. All right. If one system, if one of them it fails, as long as we have other things covered, that hopefully that's not going to be fatality. This slide basically shows how we process the Vision Zero for York region. So first started with identifying stakeholders, as I mentioned, police, public health, public work at York region, also municipalities. Then we review all their policy and guidelines. We find where the shortcomings are and gaps are. Then we done the data analysis. We came up vision, mission, goal, emphasis area, then action plan. For these 3 things, we not only use the data, we also engage the public as well as the stakeholders to make that decision. So after several stakeholders meetings, we came up with these 2 vision and goals. So our vision is very aspirational, very high level, and end to serious injury fatalities on roads in the York region. Again, it's very high level. There is no number. However, in goal, it's very short term. So we want to reduce the fatality and injury by 10% within 5 years, starting this year. So that's we determined our goal or vision for the York region, Vision Zero. So once we've done that, now we have to identify the emphasis area. So what emphasis areas are? Basically the low-hanging fruit. So each municipality, each jurisdiction, they have limited resources. They have limited manpower, they have a limited number of, limited fund. So instead of basically targeting everything, we said, let's focus on where we can get the best win or easiest win. So that's basically emphasis area. How did we come up with the emphasis area? We used 3 sets of information. We done the collision analysis, we engaged the public from York region and municipalities, and also we use the priority for the councillors and elected officials. So in terms of the analysis, obviously collision is the obvious things. We done several analyses. Where are the collisions, prone locations are, who's involved, and why these are happening, and what the factors are. So we used 2015 and 2019 collision data. We didn't use the 2021, 2022 because of the pandemic. So we focus only on fatal and injury collision. So we analyze all the regional and municipal collisions, and we basically summarize it in a tech memo. And this is some of the analysis. We first started by analyzing the historical collision data. So we conducted the exploratory analysis by looking different collision categories where the general area of concerns are, and more detailed analysis conducted for each of type of collision. This is examples of how we did the analysis for pedestrian collisions. So we used the police report to do that. So at the end, once we've done all the analysis, basically these are where the collisions happen. So majority of collisions were happening in the intersection. So aggressive driving was second most reason for collisions happening, and distracted driving, texting, talking on the phone, young demographics. So just want to make a note here. A collision can happen, young demographic can be involved while he or she was distracted at the intersections. So if that collision happened, it goes to all three located areas, basically. So that's one side of the story. Then we engaged, so basically, as I said, so we used the collision analysis to come up with the emphasis area, what the contributing factors are, facility types, and demographic as well. Then we engaged public. So a survey was developed with a question on the demographic response, where they live or work or study, mode of transportation, and we ranked 16 different type of groups for the questions. So, majority of our input was from people who live in the city of Vaughan, Markham, Richmond Hill, and so on. And it's the figure in the right show the population of compared what we got from them. So, public basically ranked their area of concern that way: distracted driving and walking, aggressive driving, impaired driving, pedestrian. So we put these two, remember, the collision data, then public input, we put them side by side, and we show the stakeholders. These are the public saying, this is the collision data, tell us. Let's work together to come up with 4 or 5 emphasis area. So after lengthy discussion with the stakeholder, we came up with these 5 emphasis area, or low-hanging fruit. So vulnerable road user, so who they are, pedestrian, cyclist, as well as motorcycle. We put them as a one category. Then intersection, aggressive driving, which include speeding, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Okay, now I identify my my emphasis area. So what do I have to do? So we have to come up with the action plan. So how are we going to address the safety? So action plan is a compromise. Is basically a combination of different measures. We call it countermeasures. And the action plan is a complete package of the countermeasures initiatives to address road safety issue related to emphasis area. So in that step, we identify countermeasures, determine the number of countermeasures, and create an action plan for each emphasis area, basically. So a lot of people confuse the countermeasure with the emphasis area. So this slide basically show what's the difference. So as you mentioned, as I remember, I told you 5 emphasis area. Pedestrian is one of them. So these are the type of programs or initiatives of countermeasure to address the safety, the pedestrian safety issue. Pedestrian crossover, side network expansion, zebra crossing, and so on. So that's the difference between basically countermeasure and emphasis area. So now we have a different type of countermeasures. We call it 4 E's. Some of those countermeasures are related to engineering, right? So changing the physical format of roadways, traffic control warning devices. And mostly those are implemented by the York region or municipal public work. Then we go and we have enforcement, which is manned by police, automated enforcement of rule of road intended to gain better compliance. So our countermeasure is not only focusing on engineering, it's basically targeting different area, as well as education and engagement too. So these are different categories for countermeasure we selected, basically. So the selection basically, it has to be agreed and acceptance by different stakeholders because they are owner of the program, and it has to be effective. If we just implement something, it doesn't make any difference for road safety. Why we do it? And it has to be doable, also feasible. And we also identify time frame for when each countermeasure goes. Remember 5 years? So we identify each year which countermeasure and how many of them to go where. And obviously collaboration. Okay, so now we have these. Where are we going to put these countermeasures? Right? There are so many locations, and so we done again different data analysis. We call it network screening. Basically, network screening rank all your locations based on their safety performance. There are a lot of statistical analysis behind that. So basically, the top location is where you have the most safety issue. Then second one, the second worst, and so on. So we done that analysis, and this is a snapshot. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to read these. So the snapshot, where are the ranks, or where the safety issues are in your region. So as I said, objectively rank location in need of safety improvement, and priority location identify a good candidate for road safety engineering review, and come up with the countermeasures. This is one type of analysis. Then we did a systemic safety analysis, and this analysis is based on risk. All right, so we identify what kind of collision we want to look in, obviously fatal and injury, as well as vulnerable road users. And we look at the intersection, and specifically signalized intersection, and we conducted the risk analysis, as you see in 5 steps there. So again, this give me another set of data, and this basically compared the result of our network screening with the systemic analysis. So we look at the collision data 2 different ways, basically. So again, the same summary, some overlap with the network screening, complement collision network screening, and inform the site selection for some countermeasures in the travel safety plan action. We also look at the police infraction analysis. So we look at more than almost 500,000 infractions between 2017 and 2022. So to give us more information about that. So here shows the speeding and where the speeding related collisions. So we try to use this information to correlate the information together to get more understanding what is happening in the region. And this is basically, so another example. So infraction can be additional source of data in the decision-making process, can be mechanism for collaboration with police for targeted enforcement. Remember 4E, the second one was enforcement. So again, we use that to help them when we implementing those countermeasures. The last set of data we use, connected vehicle data analysis. The connected vehicle data work was collecting, a lot of firms or companies, they were collecting this data. Until February of this year, because of the privacy issue, we couldn't use these data. So after February of this year, they allow us to use it. Basically, a connected vehicle can connect over a wireless network to share various data elements such as location, speed, and heading, time, and so on. So obviously we didn't want to share the information, or the provider didn't want to share, so we kept the personal information apart from our analysis. So tons of data, a lot of data generated basically every 3 to 15 seconds. That's a lot of data. And we're talking about big data. Yeah, these are the big data. So available pretty much in near almost real time. So less than 60 seconds in most cases. And sources from original equipment manufacturer, car companies, fleet, telematic service providers, and so on. So we use all this information to come up with another set of KPI to help us to find where we have a safety issue. So we use two sets of KPI, harsh braking and harsh acceleration. So again, this is another set of data to find out where we have the issue, where all these things are happening. So, and CB connected vehicle data provided the unprecedented opportunity to review risky behavior network-wide and identify the collision prone location. So, once we have done all these analysis of data, so we recommended these things. So 127 countermeasures or safety initiatives for your region, which almost around 900 locations will be implemented for next 5 years. And for local municipalities, the map shows that the number of countermeasures as well as how many locations they will be implemented. So these are all good, you know. Okay, somebody has to spend money on that, you know. The municipalities or region needs money to implement all these. So we did the analysis for them, and the region is committed basically more than almost 52 million capital budget and $2.6 million only on operating budgets. And the same thing we should for the local municipalities. Obviously, we have the numbers for each municipalities like Vaughan, Newmarket, and so on. But $92 million of capital budget and 5.5. And that's a lot of money, to be honest with you. So that's a good thing. So it means the municipalities or jurisdiction, they are very serious about the road safety. They want to improve road safety. So, but fortunately or unfortunately, things doesn't finish here. It's a cycle. It has to continue. So we had to come up with something to basically measure where we are after 1 year, after second year, and third year and fourth year. So in our new software test, so we implemented this. So we have a dashboard, basically measure what happened before, what happened after. The bad news is the number of before collision was 1427. Well, no, that's a good news as a matter of fact, and the number reduced by so many. So again, we just started. The program started in 2024. We still have one long way to go. And after a couple of years, we're going to do the evaluation, see where we are, whether we need to change our approach or not. So I think that's it for me. And I don't know, you have any question or comments? I'll be more than happy to answer.